You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, good morning, everybody. This is James Morris. Welcome to Round 2, Segment 2 of our Monday morning show. Scott, this show is going to be playing the day after Christmas, and people have survived they've survived Christmas, but their drain lines or their sinks may not have, because as they've been cooking the Christmas hams and turkeys and getting all this put together, they may notice that glug, glug, glug from the toilet or from the sink. And I know what I would do. I'd call Mr. Reuter at 763-2001, because y'all are open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and you don't charge any more for service calls on weekends than you do on Monday through Friday. Is that true?
That's right.
That's what I think that's so neat that's what y'all do. It's the same price whether you call on a Monday or you call on a Sunday.
That's exactly right.
Now, is that something that's relatively new in the plumbing industry out there? Because it used to be, if I remember, weekends and holidays were double time.
Well, sure. We've been doing this for years since we've been a Mr. Reuter brand, and it's pretty well universal across Mr. Reuter. So for the most part, if you go to Mr. Reuter in Atlanta or Mr. Reuter in California, they'll be operating pretty close to the same way.
Right. And that's important that they are, because this is the franchises, and Mr. Reuter has been around for a while. I mean, this is the gentleman plumber. This is where, if I understand correctly, the plumbers have to have some sort of, they have to be respectful and have manners. They can't be going around and chewing tobacco and spitting on the floor, or having, or not being the stereotypical plumber that we've seen in comic strips over the years. They're called the gentleman plumber, where you actually wear shoe covers to make sure you don't mess up the floors. You actually make sure that you leave the house cleaner than when you found it if you're working in an area. What are some other things that y'all do that are different than other plumbing type places?
Well, we actually bring our own doormat. So we'll clean our feet on our doormat, right, and then put our protective shoe covers on once we've done that.
Well, that's important. Now, I mean, that keeps people's house from getting clean. I mean, from getting so much dirtier. What seems to be the biggest complaint that people have after the holidays?
I would say probably kitchen sinks. Kitchen sinks draining slow or completely stopped up. I sent you that picture of a
I saw
kitchen
that
sink drain line, and
yes,
you see how small the actual the area of flow would be. It was like a clogged artery, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like, what I'm just guessing, was that a 2-inch pipe or 2.5-inch pipe, just guessing, coming off the sink?
That's right. It was a 2-inch pipe, and the inside diameter would be about 2 inches. And as you saw, it was probably reduced down to maybe less than 1 inch. It was
in some places about the size of my little finger.
Right.
And I'm looking at it going, I said, this, and what I did when I noticed it, the very bottom of it had rotted out to where there was no pipe there. There was
right,
and it was filled up with build up and stuff like that. And I said, you know what, that looks like a perfect example of what Drano does to piping. Now, was that cast iron pipe that was in there?
That was cast iron pipe, probably from the 50s or 60s, and that's years of lack of proper maintenance. Folks get a slow drain, and they'll put an acid of some sort, something caustic, down their drain, and oh wow, we got some relief. And a few months later or weeks later, they're stopped up again. They try it again, and over the years, it just erodes through the cast iron.
Right, and it did on this one. Now, what I noticed on this one was it was a kitchen sink, and y'all had to break the cap, y'all had to break the floor up to get down there to it, and to replace it, and you replaced it with PVC, white PVC. Now, I'm asking something. Would this, I don't know if that would have been a good case or not. It's a small pipe. It's only a 2-inch pipe. It's not a big drain pipe. Could you actually have gone down there, rooted that out with y'all's high pressure or what? I don't know if you would have done that, and put a sock in there and redone that, or is 2-inch pipe just too small to do that with?
In some applications we can, but in this particular application, what we did is we excavated on both sides of the line, and we actually pulled the old line out and pulled a new line in. So we only had to make two excavations in their floor, and we probably had about a 15-foot area that was not damaged at all, and pulled the line completely out and pulled a new one in.
It's still, I was just curious because I know you're always talking about how y'all can take lines that have been rotted out from the very bottom over a period of time, and we're talking about the big drain lines, the 4-inch lines, and when you take when y'all go down there and you take your hydro scrubber and you go down there and you hydro scrub with water and pressure and you clean it all out, and then you notice the very bottom of the pipe is rotted out, and you go, oh Lord have mercy, what am I going to do? I got half the pipe rotten. But y'all can turn around and blow up, I want to call it like a tube sock, which is fiberglass, and you put it in there and it adheres and it forms to this clean scrubbed pipe, what's left of the pipe, and then you take it and you pressurize it with hot water, if I understand correctly, and that hot water cures this fiberglass resin, making a permanent pipe repair that'll last for 20 to 30 years. And that's what y'all do on the houses that have that old terracotta type piping. I guess you can do it on old terracotta piping. I don't know.
Sure. Terracotta makes a fantastic hose pipe, and that's all you're doing is you need a structure for that fiberglass stock to bond to. And the terracotta pipe, if you look at it, it's a good half-inch thick. And the only downfall of that pipe was it was every 5 feet there was a joint, and the joint was put together with concrete, and then the roots over time start to break into that concrete. So about every 5 feet you have the little hairy spots of roots growing through.
So y'all can go in there, hydro clean it, and put the sock in there, and literally save the customer thousands of dollars in repair bills.
Absolutely.
That sounds like a great deal. Now, I was the paper the other day was talking about how they're going to put to hook up the city sewer 75% off because they don't want septic tanks that are flooding the bay and all this right here. And I'm kind of looking at it going, that sounds all well and good, but you and I both know that it's not the septic tanks, in my opinion, that's causing the bay to have all the algae bloom in it or to be contaminated. It seems to be the sewer system when we get a rain overflows and we have the sewer system overflowing into our bay. And I know they mean well by getting people to hook up to sewer and everything, but until our county commission and our city commissions figure out how to stop all this raw sewage every time it rains, because I guarantee you, if we get any rain like today or whenever we get more rain in, it will start overflowing. We get hard rain right there across from Speedy Car Wash. You'll watch it outflow there. It'll start bubbling up if we get heavy rain over in Parker and on the beach all over town. And to me, that is something that's more of a crisis than anything that I think could be, in my opinion, could be treated by doing what you're talking about doing, by taking the fiberglass socks, and even though if they're anywhere from 4-inch pipe up to, I think you told me up to a 6-foot pipe, y'all can do that with, or can be done with?
Our application's up to 10-inch pipe.
Okay.
But when we went through our training up in Virginia for this product, they were producing, this is almost a sideline business for the manufacturer that produces this. They actually produce the huge, the socks that you could drive a truck through that fit in a pipe that you could drive a semi-truck through, just massive pipe. So there's no limitation on size as far as what you could reline.
Well, now the reason I'm bringing this up is even in the home industry, you don't want to tear your front yard up and remove, do all that, or tear your driveway up, and you can take care of it that way. The same thing can be done by the county or the city, where they wouldn't have to tear the roads up, they wouldn't have to tear up people's yards. They could go in there and take a segment at a time. I don't know how big a segment they do. I don't do this for a living, but do that over a period of time and actually I would make sure that we have something that's more watertight to keep the sewage from going into the storm drain and vice versa, where the storm drain won't go into sewage or sewage will go into storm drain. But that seems to be a major problem down here as far as pollution. They were talking about down in Indian River, where a lot of the pollution was coming from septic tanks, but that green algae that keeps building up. But I don't know if it's coming from the septic tanks as it is coming from the waste disposal plants. What were we going to say?
Well, I was going to say that there's been somebody working on water treatment plants, portable water treatment plants, and come to find out the largest source of pollution is coming from NASA.
What, are you talking about Indian River down there?
I am.
Wow. I'm from the government. We're here to help.
Right.
That's pretty incredible out there. But Scott, you were saying that this is something. But on the sock stuff, is the city and county using that type technology, or are they behind the curve, or do you not know? Do you have
No, they are. I'm not sure to what degree they're using that, but from time to time over the years, I've seen the big, huge trucks set up, and they'll shoot this liner from one manhole to the other. So typically a manhole is every 300 feet,
right?
If it's a straight line. So they'll set up from one manhole to the other and shoot the liner down through, or either they'll pull in place. There's another method where they'll pull it through and then inflate it from one end to the other. And then they have the robotics that go down through the line and reinstate the laterals, where the lines tie in, and they turn and look, and they can see the dimple where the lateral comes in, and they'll cut it out, grind it, smooth it, and move to the next one.
That's hard to believe that can all be done by robotics. I mean,
absolutely.
It is incredible. I mean, we're talking about robotics. If I told you 5 years ago that in the next 10 years you would probably be taking a taxi cab that doesn't have a driver in it, you would say,
wow.
James, I don't believe that. Well, remember the movie Cherry 2000 or something, I think, that had Mel Gibson in it or something like, I can't remember. No, it was years ago anyway, where the taxi cab driver was a robot. Well, that's the same thing. That was futuristic, and we kind of laughed about it, but we're going to have the same thing that's going to be happening. It's already taking place in the United Arab Emirates, UAE, where they use Tesla S's, and all you do is call them up on your smartphone. They come, you get in the car, and you punch in your destination where you're going to go, and there's no one in the front seat. It's pretty. It is, and insane things taking place with sewer systems out there. They have robots, I guess, that are autonomous, or I don't know if they're autonomous or not, but at least you can go down there and with the remote cameras figure out where they need to cut, where they need to do. I mean, if you can actually go down there and cut and sand and make things smooth, that's a pretty darn good technology that's come along.
Isn't that neat?
It is very, very neat. And that has a future of saving a lot of taxpayer money and saving people a lot of money that have private homes where they don't have to tear their yards up to redo piping that's gone bad. That is pretty interesting. I had no idea that that's been around. When did this come about? When did they invent this? Is this an old idea that's come back around you again?
Well, it seems like all the classes that I go to when they demonstrate this product, it's almost as if Europe gets this type of equipment first,
right?
And maybe breaks ground with it. They've been doing the jetting, the hydro scrubbing, years and years before it became mainstream here. They started doing the tankless water heaters years and years before it became mainstream here. So it's almost as if they're more,
cutting edge,
a little ahead of the times with plumbing, over America.
Well, it's the same thing in the beekeeping industry. I'm a beekeeper as a hobby, and for the last 20 years, they've been vaporizing their bees with oxalic acid, which is a natural ingredient to kill the varroa mite. And down here in Florida, they haven't officially approved it, but we've told the state of Florida, you can pound sand, we know it works. And we're using it for trying to save our bees, and it works extremely well. And this is something Europe's been doing for the last 20 years. It's just now starting to take off in America, where instead of using chemicals to poison our bees and all this stuff right here, we're actually using a natural ingredient that doesn't hurt the bees, doesn't hurt the honey, doesn't hurt the hive, and is something that is non-invasive, so to speak, and does a great job. And this sounds exactly what this is doing. This is less invasive, does a better job, and ensures that customers are saving money and getting a better product.
That's right.
It sounds great. Scott, if people want to know more about what I'm talking about or what they can do for you, they can call you at 763-2001.
That's exactly right. And if they're looking for a job, want to learn the plumbing industry, or if they're a plumber and want to change careers with a great opportunity, we've got a new website now. It's called applyatmrrooter.com.
Applyatmrrooter.com. That's a long title, but still, if you go there, applyatmrrooter.com. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Applyatmrrooter.com, all spelled out, all lowercase, and you can apply for a job for Mr. Rooter. And thank you so much for calling, and we'll be talking to you again next Monday. And Merry Christmas, everybody. All right, y'all be good.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 beep.